Round of applause.
Okay. According to diabetes.org, in 2011, there was estimated to be about 25.8 million children and adults in the United States that suffer from diabetes. That's nearly 8.3% of our entire population. However, for people 20 years of age or younger, which ties closer to our age group, it was estimated to be about 215,000 people that suffer from diabetes. As growing college students, we all stress out enough as is when it comes to our classes, or staying up until 6 a.m. to do an essay we forgot to do, or studying all week for a midterm or final. Sometimes we just need that quick fix of energy to give us sometimes we need that quick fix of food to give us some energy, and it seems that most people turn to their place of comfort, fast food restaurants. As a college student myself, I know it's extremely tempting to get a burger combo at Carl's Jr. or some french fries at McDonald's. Especially since I'm stressed out enough as is with my classes, the last thing that I have time for is to actually go in the kitchen and cook myself a nice healthy meal. It just seems much more convenient to get fast food. So today I'm going to be talking about fast food, and hopefully by the end of my speech I'll have persuaded most people, if not everyone, to cut back on the amount of fast food that they consume. First, I'm going to be talking about what's actually in these fast foods. Second, I'm going to be talking about what kind of diseases you can get from eating excess amounts of fast food. And lastly, I'm going to be talking about some alternatives you can take to living a healthier lifestyle and still having a yummy meal. So fast food is definitely delicious, however, most people are unaware of what's actually in them. For example, a Big Mac. Everybody has had a Big Mac before, but a lot of people don't know what's actually in it. A Big Mac, well, according to Medical News Today in 2012, an average U.S. male, which is roughly someone between 5'7" to 5'10", weighing about 140 to 180 pounds, should consume 2,700 calories a day, while an average U.S. female, weighing around 120 to 140 pounds, about 5'2" to 5'6", should consume about 2,200 calories a day. A Big Mac alone already contains 600 calories, 1,070 milligrams of sodium, and 34 grams of total fat. 34 grams of total fat is equivalent to 3 sticks of hard butter and can take up to 2 hours to completely burn off. Another fast food favorite is French fries. A single serving for French fries can contain 216 calories, 10.5 grams of total fat, 31 milligrams of sodium, and 27 grams of total carbohydrates. So basically, you can be consuming nearly 1,000 calories if you add the French fries with your burger and a soda. And remember, an average U.S. female should consume 2,200 calories a day, and an average U.S. male should consume 2,700 calories a day. So if you're already consuming 1,000 calories from a single meal, that's almost half of how much you should consume for an average female, and almost a third of how much you should consume from an average male, and that's only from one single meal. So aside from what's going into our bodies, there's lots of harmful diseases you can get from eating excess amounts of fast food. According to the National Institute of Health in 2004, you can get many diseases from eating excess amounts of fast food, but the most common ones are diabetes and coronary heart disease, which can ultimately lead to premature death. So what is diabetes, and why should we care? According to PubMed Health in 2012, diabetes is a lifelong chronic disease in which there are high levels of sugar in the blood. So basically, there's two different types of diabetes. There's type 1 and type 2. And type 1 diabetes is when the body can't produce enough insulin, and you can't really predict who can get type 1 diabetes, and it can affect anybody. But for type 2 diabetes, it's when the body cannot produce enough insulin, or the cells choose to ignore the insulin. And there are ways to prevent type 2 diabetes with a healthy diet and exercise. Another disease you can get from eating excess amounts of fast food is coronary heart disease. So according to PubMed Health in 2012, coronary heart disease is basically the narrowing of the small blood vessels that supply blood and oxygen to the heart. It is the leading cause of death in the United States for men and women. Basically what it is your coronary artery, which is the artery that supplies blood and oxygen to your heart, gets clogged up when you eat excess amounts of fast food. And so it takes much longer for blood and oxygen to get to your heart, and it can potentially stop. So that's what coronary heart disease is. So now that I have talked about the diseases you can get, I will talk about some alternatives you can take in still having a healthy meal, but having a healthier lifestyle also. So one of the main reasons that we eat fast food is because it's fast, tasty, and affordable, right? So why don't we eat healthy food if it's fast, tasty, and affordable? In 2011, Subway beat out McDonald's and becoming the world's largest restaurant chain. So instead of getting McDonald's after class or after work, why not stop by a Subway instead? They have really good sandwiches, such as the BLT, which is only around 300 calories, and it contains everybody's favorite bacon with tomatoes, lettuce, and your choice of bread, cheese, and toppings. And plus, it comes out to only $5 with tax, which is much cheaper than McDonald's combo anyways. Okay. Another alternative is like when you can take one day out of your week to cook a big meal, and that way, like throughout the week, you have little portions that you can take. So, like I know being college students and people in general, we're all really busy, but like if you just take one day out of your week, you can cook a big meal, and that way you can pack little portions for like your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, and you can eat that throughout the week when you're at class or when you're at school, and that way you can save money from not going to fast food restaurants, and you can become healthier also. So that concludes my pitch on cutting down the consumption of fast food. I talked about how fast food, and hopefully by the end of my speech I'll have persuaded most people, if not everyone, to cut down on fast food. I talked about what is actually going into our bodies when we eat excess amounts of fast food. I talked about what kind of diseases you can get from eating excess amounts of fast food. And lastly, I talked about some alternatives you can take to living a healthier lifestyle and still having a yummy meal. So next time when you go to eat something after class or after school, hopefully you think about this presentation and you think about everything that you're putting into your bodies, and you drive just a little bit further to go to a Subway